And now there are also many studies found that the relaxation and meditation, they can reduce tension, anxiety. That is by the effect of biofeedback. So biofeedback systems, they use electronic devices to inform people about their physiological responses and gives them the chance to bring their response to a healthy range. Relaxation and meditation, they have similar effects. So we have gone through some academic studies on stress. Now we're going to talk about the question that we concern the most about stress in our daily life. What can we do about stress? To get stress under control, we can first find out what is causing stress in our life. Sometimes it's clear where stress is coming from. We can count on stress during a major life change, such as the death of a loved one, getting married, or having a baby. But other times, it may not be so clear why we feel distressed. It is important to figure out what causes stress for you, because everyone feels and responds to stress very differently. And then look for ways to reduce the amount of stress in our life. Learn healthy ways to relieve stress or reduce its harmful effects. Keeping a stress journal may help. Like get a notebook and write down when something makes you feel stressed. And then write how you reacted and what you did to deal with the stress. How do you feel in the situation that makes you stressed? And keeping a stress journal can help you find out what is causing your stress and how much stress you feel. And then you can take steps to reduce the stress or handle it better. And before we moved to our next level, because next we are doing activity and that may cause some time, and we are close to our 10 minutes break. So what if we take the 10 minutes break earlier and then we can go through the activity? It is okay? So now we are going to take 10 minutes break. It's a bit earlier, but that may, okay, nice. So now let's take a break. Time to back to class.
OK，老师。
Yes, 老师。
So we've talked about what we can do about stress. And now let's go details about each of the 3 points. The first is find out what is causing stress in our life. And what is very important is assess the stress level. There are many academic measurements of stress level. And here I will introduce one of the most used of them. It is called the perceived stress scale. And now we are going to do the activity. We will finish this scale together and to assess what level of stress you've been experienced in the last month. So what is perceived stress scale? It is a classic stress assessment instrument. This tool helps us understand how different situations affect our feelings and our perceived stress. And the questions in the scale ask about your feelings and thoughts during the last month. In each case, you'll be asked to indicate how often you felt or thought in a certain way. And so now, I'm going to ask you to get a piece of paper and pen. And there are some questions, this seems very similar, but there are differences between them, and you should treat each other as a separate question. And I will suggest that you will write a number 1 to 10 in your piece of paper like this, okay? So first is get a piece of paper and pen. Let's move now. And then to write the number 1 to 10 in your paper, okay?
OK，老师 done.
Have everyone completed the 2 steps?
Yes, 老师。
Yeah.
Okay, nice. To write number 1 to 10. And remember to answer quickly and don't analyze the questions. And don't try to count up the number of times you felt a particular way. Rather indicate alternative that things like reasonable estimate. Okay? Just answer quickly. And now I'm going to present you all the questions of the scale. So try not to overthink or overanalyze this question. Now let's take a moment and read through each of these statements, and for each one, choose from the following scale. 0 means never. 1 point is at most never. 2 point is sometimes. 3 point is fairly often, and 4 points is very often. So now let's move and give the points of each question. If you finished, please input 1 in the comment, okay? So I will know how many of you have completed the scale. So now I suppose most of you who have followed the class have completed your rating, right? So now let's go ahead and calculate your score with the instructions above. So first, reverse your scores for question 4, 5, 7, and 8. On these questions, change the scores like this. 0 is 4, 1 means 3 points, 2 means 2 points, 3 means 1 point, and 4 means 0 point. Just these 4 questions, okay? Just a question 4, 5, 7, and 8. Change the score like this. The other questions, the score you rate remains the score you got. And now add up your scores for each item to get a total score. Like individual scores on the scale can range from 0 to 40, with higher scores indicating higher perceived stress. So scores ranging from 0 to 13 would be considered low stress. Scores ranging from 14 to 26 would be considered moderate stress. And scores ranging from 27 to 40 would be considered high perceived stress. And please remember that it is not determined that if you got a score like 30, it is not determined that you actually have high perceived stress. It's an indication. Is scores ranging from this would be considered like high perceived stress. It doesn't mean that you really have high perceived stress. And this scale is interesting and important because your perception of what is happening in our life is most important. Like consider the idea.
Laoshi, is this skill really work?
Like what I said, if you got a score like 30, it doesn't really mean that you have high perceived stress. It just scores ranging from this would be considered. It is not determination, okay? It's just an indication of your psychological state. And it is not just for this one scale. Other scales, they're the same. It's not a determination. It's just an indication, okay?
Okay. For me, I got 14. So it's low stress.
That's a little bit high. So maybe you should consider what happened in the last month and what's your psychological state. 14. Okay. Yeah. That's fine. That's not a very high score.
Yeah, I can see.
Actually, I got 11.
11. Oh, that's nice. Which means you probably have a very relieved last month.
I was in relax notes, that's why.
Mm-hmm. So now that you have done with the activity, I want to take a few moments and think about the questions on the slide. How did activity make you feel? And are you surprised by your score? Why or why not? Just think about these two questions. And if you want to share your feelings and your thoughts, you're free to just open your mic. Nice. I see most of you got the score ranging from like 11, from 0 to 26. That means low and moderate stress. That's nice. Is there anyone who are surprised by your score? And all you think, yeah, that will reflect my psychological state last month.
Yeah, Laoshi, I think that's really a reflex of my last 1 month. That's why I asked you, is it work really? It's nice.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Actually, my score is 20.
Oh, 20. That's moderate stress. So are you surprised by the result, or you think that reflect your state last month?
I'm a little surprised because I didn't really feel stressed. I just feel like I'm normal, but the results just show that high.
So like what I said before, the results doesn't really mean your true state, but there's also a possibility that sometimes the stress are hidden. And the result, if it's real, if it's true, and probably you can just think about last month and think about your state, and probably there are some details you just overlook. And try to do some things that you enjoy and make you feel more relieved. Okay.
Actually, I enjoy playing basketball, and I played almost every day in last month. But still, sometimes I feel unsatisfied with how everything is around me, even though I do the things I like. So, what else can I do?
I
Yeah.
see. Probably the problem is you play for the most time of your day. And because you just play and don't do things that like study or something that you may feel valuable. So even if you do things that you enjoy, like playing, but that is not very satisfying, right? The things you enjoy doesn't really. It's the two different kind of concept, like enjoyment and satisfaction.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So probably this month you can try to change your lifestyle to balance your work and play.
Yeah, I think that's the best idea. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. No worries. So now we are going to move to our next stage. The activity is done. You all do very well. So now we understand our recent stress level. Let's talk about ways to cope with stress. There are both positive and negative ways to cope with stress. Like negative coping methods include alcohol, smoking, using drugs, overeating, and caffeine. Like using these methods to cope will add more stress to our body and our mind. And there are other negative method, which is also called maladaptive coping method, like avoiding, denying, procrastinating, which is very often seen in the circumstance, like before deadlines, before the finals. Like we feel very stressful about our study, but instead of trying your best to keep up with other students, you're probably like procrastinating and avoiding the task you should do. And that is also a very negative method for coping with the stress because that will make you feel more stressful. So let's focus more on the positive coping methods. Positive coping methods including exercise, meditation, yoga, coloring, socializing with friends or family, and taking the breaks, and time management skills. Now, we will talk about time management skills later in our course. And when we feel the effects of stress winding us down, it's like lugging a backpack that's becoming heavier by the minute. Because too much stress can make our journey through life very difficult. And happy events, such as wedding, as well as unhappy events, such as overwork, can cause stress too. So when your stress level exceeds your ability to cope, you need to restore the balance by reducing the stressors or increasing your ability to cope with both. And try using one of the 4 A's. It is a very useful principles for coping with stress, which is called 4A. The first is avoid. Believe it or not, you can simply avoid a lot of stress, like plan ahead, rearrange your surroundings, and reap the benefits of a lighter load. Like take control of your surroundings. Like live. And the second is avoid people who bother you. If you have a co-worker of a friend who makes you feel uncomfortable, and just to put physical distance between the two of you, and learn to say no. You have a lot of responsibilities and demands on your time. At a certain point, you cross the line between being charitable and being foolish. Turn down the requirements that makes you feel uneasy, makes you feel uncomfortable. Just keep the people who will make you relaxed, who are really valuable to you, around you. And the fourth is ditch part of the list. Just label your to-do list with A's, B's, and C's. Just sorting your to-do list. Make the priorities. List them according to the importance. And the second A is alter. One of the most helpful things you can do during times of stress is to take inventory, then attempt to change a situation for the better. Like respectfully ask others to change their behavior, and be willing to do the same. Small problems often create larger ones if they aren't resolved, and they can accumulate. So if you're tired of being the butt of your girlfriend's or boyfriend's jokes at parties, just ask him or her to leave you out of the comedy routine. In return, be willing to enjoy the other jokes or thank him or her for humoring you. So just, if you feel something really makes you uncomfortable, and there are small things, like in most times we will feel it's like, let's don't make a big fuss. There is no need talking about it. However, it's very important to talk about these small things, because if you don't talk about it, they are never resolved, and these small things can accumulate it. If the other person annoys you, you can just respectfully ask others to change their behavior. Let them know something they said or something they did offend you. Okay. And the second is communicate your feelings openly. Remember to use I statements, as in, I feel frustrated by shorter deadlines and heavier workload. Is there something we can do to balance things out? And third is manage your time better. Set priorities and work hard. Like worry arises because we have unrealistic expectations about what we can do or have no sense of priority. You need to have a set of realistic expectations. It's very important to have realistic expectations. Sometimes we just have very high expectations towards others, towards people we love, or to the situation, or to our own ability, just to lower the expectations, to have more realistic expectations. And work hard. Worry and stress is often a signal to do something. Worry arises when there are deadlines and things that are building up. That means it is time to get it done. Sometimes all the stress management strategies in the world are no substitute for like seeing a task to completion, right? So just stop thinking and move on. Just do something, okay? Just work hard. And state limits in advance instead of stewing over some of your friends' nonstop chatter, just to politely start a conversation with, I've got only 5 minutes to cover this. The last is rehearse success. Instead of imagining how badly things might turn out, you can just take a few minutes to mentally rehearse success. Now picture yourself sailing through first days, family events, evaluations, or any events that you typically dread for. Hear yourself performing well at presentations or during meetings. Feel what it would be like to overcome obstacles, accomplish goals, and resolve conflict. Just imagine a situation that you have successed. And that can also give you more motivations to complete your task and relieve your stress. And the third A is accept. Sometimes we have no choice but to accept things the way they are. And many distressed, they result from people are denying some facts that have already happened. Just accept them. Talk to someone. You may not be able to change a frustrating situation, but that doesn't mean your feelings aren't legitimate. Just phone or schedule a coffee break with an understanding friend. You'll feel better after talking about it. And the second is forgive. It takes energy to be angry. Forgiving may take practice, but by doing so, you will free yourself from burning more negative energy. Once you're in your anger, when you could shrug and move on. And practice positive self-talk. It's easy to lose objectivity when you are stressed. One negative thought can lead to another, and soon you've created a mental, like a vicious circle. You are overwhelmed by your own negative thoughts. Be positive. Instead of thinking like, I'm horrible with money, I will never be able to control my finances. And try this. You can change your phrase like, I made a mistake with my money, but I'm resilient. I will get through it. Last is learn from your mistakes. There's value in recognizing a teachable moment. You can't change the fact that procrastination hurt your performance, but you can make sure you allot more time in the future. To use the situation that makes you distressed like an if that can teach you lessons and make you do better next time. And the last A is adapt. Thinking you can cope is one of the greatest stressors. That's why adapting, which often involves changing your standards or expectations, can be most helpful in dealing with stress. First, adjust our standards. Like, imagine the worst. Sometimes we like to imagine the worst situation. It's okay. If your mind wants to imagine the worst, then let it. The trick is to be sure you take the line of thought to the absurd extreme. For example, you can think, if I don't get this job, I will run out of money, then I will have to go live with my parents, then everyone will laugh at me, and then my parents will kick me out, and I will be homeless and live in a cardboard box on the street. our starve or freeze to death. Like once you imagine the very worst, you can backtrack and usually find a realistic scenario. From there, you can start to devise workable plans to manage your current reality and solve the problem. So when you find a reasonable level of concern, you can state the problem objectively and see new solutions. And the second is practice thought stopping. Like stop gloomy thoughts immediately refers to replay a stressful situation as negative, and it may cease to be negative. It may cease to be negative. And reframe the issue. Try looking at your situation like from a new viewpoint. Like instead of feeling frustrated that you're home with a sick child, like look at it as a responsibility to look at it as an opportunity to bond, relax, and finish a load of laundry, like change perspective. And give yourself permission to get more perspective. Another option is to zoom out in time, like imagine yourself 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, or even 1 decade from today, and ask how much the current situation will matter to you then. What we typically find is what worries us today will not matter next week. Because when the stress comes, it's so overwhelming. And we all kind of have this illusion that all the emotions I feel today, all the stress I experience today will last forever. However, for most times it's not, because like what I said, what worries us today will not matter next week. So you can just imagine the future, and that will help you to relieve your stress now, to relieve the feeling of overwhelming now. Can try to look at the big picture. And here's another suggestion: adopt a mantra. What is a mantra? It is something that you say to myself. The original definition is something like a magic. It's a magic phrases. When you speak, and some magic happens. And what mantra means here is the mental magic you can conduct to yourself. Like it's very similar to positive self-talk. Like you can create a saying such as "I can handle this," and mentally repeat it in tough situations. And the next is create an assess column. Just imagine all of the things that brings you joy in life: vacation, your girlfriend or boyfriend, your friends, your parents, your pets. And then call on that list when you are stressed. It will put things into perspective and serve as a reminder of life's joys. And look at the big picture, like ask yourself, will this matter in a year or in 5 days? It's similar to reframe the issue. And choosing the right technique. Stressors, good and bad, are part of everyday life. Just practice applying these techniques to balance the stress equation. With the practice, and you will do better. So all the techniques I list here is not it's not useful to everyone. So because each person have their preferences, or the situations may be different, but you can just choose the right technique for the specific situation and just practice. And one problem is sometimes we are so stressed and we don't have the time or energy to devote to self-care, to devote to distress, right? That's when you need to replenish the most. Like we need to prioritize the self-care. Prioritizing self-care is a decision that only we can make, and changing behavior can take some effort. Here are some tips to help make changes and maintain them. The first is you can set a goal, like be specific about what you'd like to try, like spend 5 minutes a day focusing on breathing or hang out with friends and not think about work or anything else that make you stressed like 3 times a week. That is a goal. It's a goal for self-care. And then make a plan, like how will you meet your goal? What are the necessary steps? Breaking your goal into incremental steps will make you feel manageable. And you can also set rewards or punishment for your plan. And the third is write it down. Just writing down your plan increases your chances of success like by 30%. Telling other people will increase the likelihood of following through even more. And then get support. Just find someone who will engage in the plan with you, or find a role model or mentor or coach, someone who can monitor how your behavior is along with your plan. Is you following your plan, or are you just throw your plan away and just do things that you normally do? And reward your actions, not results. It is very important to reinforce yourself for taking positive steps, like rather than focusing exclusively on achieving your end goal. It's very important. Reward your actions, not results, because results are not usually good. But your actions is important. And turn bad days into good data. And try to view step access information. What happened and how can you handle it differently? Get curious, not depressed. Just give the new behavior at least 3 tries before giving up on it. So here are some specific tips for if you're going to really distress your stress, prioritizing self-care. Make it top 1 in your list. There's another tips for self-care. The first, of course, avoid drugs and alcohol. They may seem to be a temporary fix to feel better, but in long run, they can create more problems and add to your stress. Connect socially. So after a stressful event, it is easy to isolate yourself. Just make sure that you are spending time with loved ones. Consider planning fun activities with your partner, your children, or parents or friends. And take care of yourself. Like eat a healthy, balanced diet. Remember that, healthy, well-balanced diet, because it's so easy to get into stress eating. Exercise regularly. Regular exercise is one of the best ways to manage stress. Like walking is a great way to get started, or other sports that you enjoy. And get plenty of sleep. Give yourself a break if you feel so stressed out. For example, treat yourself to a therapeutic massage. Maintain a normal routine. And write. It can help to write about things that are bothering you. It's a very good way to slow down racing thoughts. It is because the hand is slower than the mind. So putting your thoughts on paper slows them down. Writing is also a good way to gain perspective. where your thoughts are in front of you on a piece of paper. They often are less stressful. You can do something you enjoy, like a hobby can help you relax. You can hang out with your friends. Like you can also do some valuable things like volunteer work, or the work that can help others. They can also be a great stress reliever. Just remember to take your mind off your problems by doing some valuable things. Relax your body. This can include breathing exercises, muscle relaxation exercises, massage, aromatherapy, yoga, or relaxing exercises like Tai Chi or other. Get little feelings out. Just talk, laugh, cry, or express your anger in an appropriate way when you need to with someone you trust. It's very important to channel your feelings, not just to suppress them in your mind. Focus on the present. You can try meditation, imaginary exercises, listen to relaxing music, try to look for the humor in life. You can even set a block of time on your schedule for worrying, like 1 hour on Fridays after work. This gives you the permission to enjoy some peace of mind until your worrying time comes around. What happens is that these people discover that most of the time, the things we worry about never come to pass. Like by postponing worry, we save ourselves needless mental wear and tear. And we usually forgot what we were so worried about after we put the thoughts on hold. And now let's try a de-stress activity. What I talked earlier about tips for self-care, there is one like relax your body. And one technique for relaxing our body is muscle relaxation exercises. Like this video walk you through progressive muscle relaxation is a type of mindfulness. So now I'm going to choose one to play to you, and I hope all of you can engage in the relaxation exercise in the video, okay? Can all of you hear the voice of the video? Is it working?
No, ma'am.
No, Laushi.
Relaxation. Stress, whether you realize it or not, creates tension in the body.
Can you hear now?
Now working.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So a lot of you, if it's convenient, please just do as the video says. We are now going to do a progressive muscle relaxation exercise, okay?
Okay, Laushi.
Laushi, there is no sound.
Okay.
Next exercise, known as progressive muscle relaxation, involves purposely tensing and relaxing different muscles so you can more easily identify the difference between feeling tense and feeling relaxed. Just like the first
Yeah, Laushi,
exercise,
it's okay now.
progressive muscle relaxation. Stress, whether you realize it or not, creates tension in the body. Patients with rheumatic diseases tend to have a lot of muscle tension, especially when trying to cope with the daily joint stiffness and pain. This next exercise, known as progressive muscle relaxation, involves purposely tensing and relaxing different muscles so you can more easily identify the difference between feeling tense and feeling relaxed. Just like the first exercise, the end goal here is to feel less stressed. Also, it's important to note that you should not engage in any of these exercises if you have pain in different parts of the body or distress or limitations. You should not be in any discomfort while doing these exercises, so please feel free to modify or eliminate any of the strategies as you see fit. Let's practice. Again, find a comfortable place to either sit or lie down. You can begin by taking a few deep, relaxing breaths. Let's begin by bringing attention to your feet. Curl your toes in tightly to feel the tensing muscles of the foot, of both feet. Hold this for a few moments before releasing the tension and relaxing the feet. Do you notice the difference? Noticing the difference between a tense and relaxed muscle is the purpose of this exercise. Now we're going to repeat this relaxation exercise with different parts of the body. Now, point your feet down, pointing the toes down toward the floor, feeling the tension in your calf muscles. Hold that for a few moments and release. Once again, noticing that change from moments of tension and moments of relaxation. Now, bringing attention to the thigh muscles, point the toes upward toward the ceiling, feeling the tension in the large muscles of the thighs. Hold that for a few moments, and when you're ready, begin to release. Now bring attention to the buttocks, tightening the muscles of the buttocks as you sit or lie on the floor. Once again, holding this for a few moments and gently relaxing. Bringing attention to the belly, to the muscles of the abdomen, and tensing these muscles as if you're bringing your belly button in, pushing your belly button in toward the spine, and holding here for a moment and gently relaxing. Noticing the back, and here just gently arching the lower back and seeing if you can feel the tension along the muscles in the back as you arch the back. Hold for a moment or two, and then slowly release. Working our way up to the shoulders, a place where we tend to hold a lot of tension. bringing your shoulders up towards your ears, squeezing them up, holding them for a moment, and slowly and gently releasing the shoulders. Now focusing on the hands, making the hands into a fist and squeezing tightly. Hold it another moment and slowly release. Now working up to the arms, you can just gently keep the fists if you like and bring the lower arms toward the upper arms. Pulling the forearms up towards the upper arms, tightening the biceps, and slowly releasing. And finally, bringing attention to the face and the mouth. Here, we're going to squeeze our eyes tight, holding them shut tight, pursing the lips, holding for a moment, and slowly relaxing. Once you've tensed and relaxed all of these muscles, notice how your body feels. Allow yourself to feel totally relaxed as you sit or lie here. You can do this exercise daily. If you have time, you can tense and relax each series of muscles twice for a more extensive relaxation exercise.
So what I played is the first video, the short progressive muscle relaxation. And in the PowerPoint, I also posted a link for another video, extended progressive muscle relaxation. When you feel so distressed and so overwhelming, you can follow the instructions in the video and do the muscle relaxation, and you may feel that more relaxed, more relieved. So what is progressive muscle relaxation? It's about being completely aware of what's happening in the present, of all that's going on inside and all that's happening around you. It can lower our cortisol levels. Like remember, we want to lower our cortisol levels because having those high levels is when you see problems like lower immunity, high blood pressure and cholesterol, or weight gain. So high level of cortisol is not good for our health. And then it can also help us return to our body back to normal state, from the stressful, aroused state to normal state. If our body constantly in the state of arousal, and that is also harmful to our body. And now are some online resources that can help us de-stress. On the slide are just a few apps that can help. So all these apps, they have one common is to they use some mindfulness or muscle relaxation. There is some like relaxing music. They'll give you some instructions that you can do some exercises that make you feel better, like breathing exercises, body exercises, mindfulness exercises. They're easy to follow, easy to do. And once you learn, you can do it almost every time, every situations. And now we have the homework for this week. I haven't received the topics from the class monitor yet. Are there some groups haven't sent your topics to class monitor? So if you haven't sent the topics, please send them today.
Okay, Laushi, no problem.
No need to send a document. You can just send the topics. I write down your group name, okay? You can just send a message. There's no need for a document. Just send them to the class monitor, and the class monitor send them to me, okay?
Okay, Laushi, no problem.
And don't send them separately. The class monitor, please send them to me in one document, okay? And then once I received all your topics of your group, I will give feedback on each group's work, which may recommend some modifications on a topic you have chosen. And so the homework for this week is modify your topic and resend them to me, okay? And for groups with no need to modify your topics.
Just
Yes?
modify previous topic.
I will give feedbacks to you. I will send my feedbacks into the group chat, and you can know if your group needs to modify your topic from the feedback sheet. Okay, I will give you feedback within this week, and then you can check the feedback and see if you need to modify the topic. If you need, just modify your topic and resend them to me. If your group don't need to modify the topic, you can just get started on your research, okay?
Okay, Laushi. And Laushi, this week we'll find a new research topic or like just previous one is also okay.
What I mean is, the first is, there are some groups haven't sent me the topics, right? So before I give your feedback, I have to receive all the topics. All the topics your groups have chosen, okay? And then I will get feedback on the topics you have chosen. And in the feedback, some groups may have to modify the topic based on your previous one. And some groups, if the topic needs like a huge change, and I may recommend you to choose a new one. And some groups, maybe your topics very nice, so there's no need to modify your topics. And then you can just get started on your research. Is it clear?
Yeah, clear, Laushi. Thank you.
So now you don't have to do anything. Just wait for my feedback and then go to the next move, okay? You now just wait for my feedback. But for groups who haven't sent their topics, because it's our homework for last week, but there are still some groups who haven't sent the topics. For groups who haven't sent the topics, just send them to the class monitor and class monitor send them to me, okay? And for other groups who have already completed the homework last week, now you have just to wait for my feedback, okay? Is it clear?
Yes, Laushi.
Yeah.
Okay, Laushi, got it.
Nice. So this is today's class, and I hope you have a nice week, okay? I will send the slides to the group chat just as well the previous times, okay?
Okay, Laushi. Thank you.
Okay, Laushi. Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, Laushi.